What's up, Chris? I'm going through puberty. What's up, Chris Barber? What's up? Oh my gosh, I got the sound on my tablet. Hold on. Oh my gosh, it skipped. Sorry, guys. Because I'm using my tablet as to see. Let's switch over here. What's up, Chris? What's up, BS Stone? Water Dragon? Scene? Vampires? Are we talking Nosferatu or the Twilight Twinks? Nosferatu, I'm not talking about sparkling vampires. Rochelle, what's up? Spirit of the trees. And Priscilla, Shiloh Toto, what's up, guys? Did you guys do anything interesting? Rochelle, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Hearts for Rochelle, guys. Why do I feel like my mic is so high now? Hearts for Rochelle, guys. Let's see. Bia, Tyranna, Marciana, Peg, the girl in the car. We're all gifted memberships to the Wolfpack by Rochelle. Guys, welcome. Jules of St. Louis was abducted. What's up, Daniel, Tammy, Jennifer Marie, Lisa Boo, Slayer Selections, Brandon, Michael Nothing, Will, Aaron, Bernadette, prayer request now, Deep in the Rockies, Edward Xavier, Enrique Expeditions, Gunner Girl, Diane. Oh, Diane, I got your little I got your duckies. These are so cool. Thank you, Diane. I gotta find a place behind me to hang them, but I wanted to show you that I got them. But thank you, Diane. They're so super cool. That is so cool. It's like a necklace with like these cool rubber duckies. And she said, hold on. I'm not gonna read the whole note, but she said, it's the Great Walk Ola Rubber Ducky Race is held every 4th of July at the King Shops on the Big Island. It is a benefit for the United Cerebral Palsy Association of Hawaii. So these are kind of cool. They're super unique. And I'm going to find a spot behind me on the walls to hang them. So thank you, Diane. Sergio, what's up? April. Kate. Osiris, you and I care. I am living proof. Eastern Arkansas Transparency. Shelly Fitzgerald. Nerd Report in the house. Logical Spock. What's up? Nerd Report gifted 5 memberships. Osiris, Logical Spock. Deep in the Rockies. Spirit of the Trees. And Marge Rodriguez, welcome to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Nerd Report for gifting 5 memberships. Gunner Girl says, Lisa, what a cool hat with your name on it. It is in my merch store, guys. And it's actually a pretty cool beanie. Staffers, what is up? Tim Rocket. So, guys, before I started, did anyone do anything interesting today? Scott, what's up? Water Dragon goes, you need a hat with ears. I know, but they didn't have any. It's like they don't have pins in there. And I like pins. Sabrina, what is up? Guys, before I get into everything, also too, if you guys have a spooky story, I'm gonna share some. If you have a spooky story you'd like to tell, and I will share it on the next stream. Email me on the screen here that Will had shared. Thank you, Will. Susan, what's up? D Nice moved furniture. That sounds like an exciting Saturday. Luckily, it wasn't super hot. Gunner Girl, thank you for the super sticker. And Bernadette, thank you for the super chat. Woo! Hearts for Gunner Girl and Bernadette and you and I care. Thank you for the super sticker. You and I care had the super sticker with the corgi, and then Gunner Girl has the lemon blowing kisses. Deep in the Rockies went to the Colorado State Fair. Oh, that sounds fun. Chris Barber found a killer deal on pink canvases. That is super cool. Shiloh Toto said it's been raining here all day. It was raining a little bit in the morning and then it stopped. I wasn't expecting it to rain. Guys, if you haven't done so, smash that like button when you get a chance. And I do have a merch store that D Nice has shared the link to, which has this beanie on it. Or in it, on it, in it. If you'd like one. Shelly's saying been rainy on the north coast today, feels like autumn. It's cooler, but it's got humidity in the air, so kind of sucks in a way. But it's not bad humidity. I've been in worse humidity. But I wasn't expecting it to rain, and then I saw rain and I was like, what the heck? Jennifer Marie, thank you for the Cash App for having a spooky Saturday. Hearts for Jennifer Marie. Thank you, Jennifer. You're awesome. Michael, nothing says my ghost stories are too long to type out. Go for it. I'll read it. Michael, nothing if you send it to me. I love ghost stories. Water Dragon didn't do anything due to the rain. Thank goodness, lots of wildfire around. I'm glad we're having rain too, because it keeps the fires away. Luckily, we haven't had too many over here. Sabrina says it barely sprinkled last night. I watched all the clouds head south toward LA. It brought the nasty humidity, though. I know what you mean, but it wasn't too bad, actually. Spirit of the Trees. I'm going to share your story in a minute if you don't mind. I have one from Spirit of the Trees in Eastern Arkansas as well. And then Bernadette shared a link to a cool article that I'm gonna share as well that she sent on the email. So if you guys have a cool link too, I'll share that. Arkansas Transparency. Randy, what's up? Shiloh Toto says, "Be careful what you ask for." I have 57 years of stories of ghost stories. I don't mind. I love them. Bernadette spent time with my boyfriend. That is super cool. That's the best way to spend your Saturday. Oh, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but Larry, I came in here and I don't know where Mini Larry came from. So I asked him, I don't know if you could see him because he's kind of white there and he's tiny. He doesn't have a bow tie. But I asked him and I was like, "Who is this?" And he was like, "Lisa, it's my long lost son, Jerry." So guys, I want to introduce you guys to Jerry, Larry's long lost son. Sorry, guys, I had to say it. He's been dying to meet you guys. I just need to get him a mini bow tie. That's all he's missing, so you can see him, because you can barely see him because he blends in. Nerdapart goes, "Is Lisa okay?" Rochelle goes, "Now I know I fit here." Gunner Girl said, "Spent my Saturday watching Nerd Report Daily, and you." Thank you, Gunner Girl. Tim Rocket says, "If you axed him, then he's lost forever now." You and I care. He's like, if you see Larry, he's like right next to him. Not the ghost, but he's like right next to him. He's like blended with my light that I should have turned the light on back there. But the other light. Cause I propped him up against it and he blended into it. Invader, what's up? But you and I care for next time. I'll see if I can make him more visible. I'll put like a cloak on him or something. Diane goes, "Ask him if he has a name for Daisy." I will. I still haven't figured. I mean, you can barely see, but I haven't figured out. And thank you for the super chat. I'm very scared about the calendar. Its days are numbered. Hearts for Anne. What do you mean its days are numbered, Anne? Bernadette goes, "Who's the baby mama, Lisa?" I have no idea, Bernadette. I just came in here and I was like, "What?" Sorry. That is my Saturday funny for the night. All right, guys, I am going to share some ghost stories. I'm going to start off with ghost stories, and then I'm going to go into Nerd Loose at Nerd Report had shared an article with me that I thought was interesting. I'm going to share that. Bernadette shared an article with me. I'm going to share that. I got Ghost in the News, where I Google Ghost in the News and see what pops up. I have 2 articles for that I'm going to share. Some creepy videos, and then we're gonna go into vampires, and it's not the twink sparkling kind, don't worry. All right, we're going to start with Arkansas's transparency. So if you guys have a ghost story, you can send it to my email. Or even an article. That's fine too. If which I have put in the chat. Or you could also do it on the various on my Discord, my Telegram, or Facebook group if you guys prefer to do it that way too. I'm fine with that as well. But this one is from Eastern Arkansas Transparency. It starts off and they did say I could share it. So it starts off, I currently live about 15 miles away from my other property that's haunted. And this main ghost encounter is a big reason why I live here, and I have only been in my ghost house maybe a dozen times in almost a decade now. I let trees and nature take over the section of my property that my ghost house is in. It still stands tall, untouched, and abandoned. Backstory: the property is part of an old plantation. It used to be 100 acres, but not anymore. An African witch that was the leader of all of the workers. She was actually sleeping with my great granddad for many years and got angry after he found a new white girlfriend, and one night she tried to take her out. She cast a curse a few moments before she was beheaded, supposedly directing supernatural attacks toward the future lineage. A bunch of weird supernatural stuff has happened there. Here's a few. My father and his brother were outside picking up pecans, and his other two brothers were in the kitchen washing dishes. A wild bat flew into the kitchen and flew into the dishes that were drying on the shelf. The bat knocked all the plates onto the floor, and the two brothers yelled and started cussing. My father and his brother ran toward the house yelling, "What the hell y'all doing in there?" The two brothers ran over and yelled, "A damn bat just flew in here and broke all our dishes." They said, "We saw it fly around and knock all the plates off the shelf, but we didn't hear anything. Nothing." My father and his brother said, "What? We heard glass and plates breaking loud." Then they all turned around and walked back into the kitchen to clean up the mess, and they looked at the floor, but it was completely clean. The broken plates were all on the shelf dry again. Nothing was broken anymore, and there was no sign of the bat. The weirdest part was the people on the inside saw the bat break the dishes and didn't hear any noise at all, but the two outside actually heard the noise loud and clear. And then somehow, no plates were even broken. Next, one day, my father was standing around the yard when a wagon coach started racing down his dirt road. There was a middle-aged white man and a woman riding in the front seat, and 6 solid white horses were pulling the wagon. The man was whipping the reins, making the horses run fast. My father ran after them cussing, but when the wagon finally got to my ghost house, the wagon went around to the back and turned right toward the cotton field and drove straight through the middle of the cotton field, headed toward the woods. He saw cotton flying everywhere. He saw big wagon trail lines in the yard and in the field, and he heard those horses hollering from getting whipped as they ran through the thick, fully grown white cotton field. My father ran inside the house and yelled at his brothers to get your trespasser annihilators and get out here quick. They all ran outside to the I like that, trespasser annihilators. They all ran outside to the cotton field line and started looking for the horses and wagon trails. They ran back and forth looking for a while, but they didn't find a single horse hoof print and couldn't find any wagon wheels tracks anywhere. The cotton field was completely untouched, and it didn't have a single broken plant. They walked all the way to the woods and didn't see any tracks at all. The two people and their 6 white horses were never seen again. Next, I was in my ghost house with my cousin and my older brother, ages me 8, 12, and 12. We had been playing a PlayStation game for several hours. We kept hearing a weird scraping metal noise. Scratch, 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 scrape. scrape, scrape. It was really annoying us. My cousin said it's probably those darn ghosts again. He said, let's sneak into the closet, climb up the shelves, and let's look into the attic and see if we could scare the ghost again. We all agreed. We all quietly climbed up to the top of the closet and snuck our heads into the attic really slowly. We heard scrap, 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 chop, chop, chop. I looked over and saw a campfire blazing right in the middle of the attic floor. Logs were burning brightly. Above the fire was a large, old, black 30-gallon antique cast iron cauldron cooking pot. Steam was coming from the top of it. There were two guys sitting on a pile of boards that were circling the campfire. A short guy was sitting on a stack of boards. He was sitting beside the cauldron. He had a big K and a black rock in his hand. And he had a large dark red head wound on the whole left side of the top of his head. Likely suffered a direct hit from a trespasser annihilator. Scrape, scrape, scrape. The short guy was taking a large knife and grinding it against a black sharpening stone. Chop, chop, chop. The other guy was sitting on another stack of boards right beside the cauldron, too. He was a tall, skinny guy with red hair. He had a large knife and a carrot in his hand. He had a white t-shirt under his button-up shirt that was unbuttoned wide open. There was a large, dark red hole in the middle of his chest. The blackish red liquid had stained most of his white shirt dark red. He was slowly chopping carrots into slices. Chop, chop, chop. He was throwing the chopped carrots into the steaming pot of stew that was cooking over the top of the fire. The short guy started talking in an excited tone. I'm almost done. The tall guy mumbled, yeah, he has a rough, deep, strained voice. The short guy said, we're going to get those little bastards tonight. I'm almost done. I'm gonna slice them up and make them scream this time. Then we're gonna chop them up and eat good tonight. The tall guy wheezed, yeah, I'm hungry. Then we all three started screaming at the exact same time. The ghost angrily looked directly toward us, and they both jumped up holding their large knives. The short guy yelled, there they are! Unalive 'em! The short guy started running and swinging his large knife back and forth, quickly slicing the air wildly. My cousin dropped to the floor and ran screaming. Then my brother jumped and ran crying and screaming. Then I fell down and ran to the front door and jumped off the side of the porch screaming. We all ran toward the front of my property to my cousin's house. I tripped right after I jumped off the porch, and of course they ran way faster than me and never looked back. The doors were locked when I finally got to my cousin's house. Backstory. My parents, as well as my siblings and my cousins, visitors, etc., all kept seeing a kid my age. He looked and sounded identical to me. They all thought it was me every time they saw the ghost kid. He was a ghost kid that looked identical to me, but he was always covered in a dozen of nice sliced wound marks. He was always covered in red liquid all over his body, and on many occasions, most people describe him as he was sitting on the ground in a pool of red liquid seeping around him, covering the ground. He was all sliced up, constantly screaming and crying. I personally think those two evil ghosts did that to the ghost kid, and then they were quickly introduced to the trespasser annihilators. I haven't been to my creepy ghost house in a while. When I walk back there, I never walk near it. I used to be creeped out by that house, but not anymore. I got abducted a few years ago and I forgot about being scared of those ghosts. But after I remember them, I wrote on my bucket list, go in there one day and get rid of those evil ghosts. Not happened yet. Working up to it. I've only screamed twice in my life. These ghosts were the reasons for one of those times. I ain't playing with those creepy ghosts. They're on my to-do list. And yes, Arkansas Transparency. It asked if you're still in the chat. I do like UFO stories too. So if you guys, I'm not a big believer in UFO stories, but I like stories. So if you guys have those too as well, you can send those to me. So what do you guys think of that story? It was crazy. That's a crazy story. Osiris saying, yo, this story's good. Jennifer Marie says, I love the imagery. Heather, whatever, is in the house. Diane says farmhouse does sound haunted. Heather whatever says I still have goosebumps. It's freaky. Jennifer Marie loved the story. Thanks for sharing. Tammy's like crazy. Daniel Miles was saying choppy. Heather whatever saying it's really good. And said I was a good narrator. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also have one. Randy says I let go of fear. I also have one from Spirit of the Trees with a picture, but I'm going to have to show the picture on my phone. Michael Nothing's working on one for me. Cool. Water Dragon saying great spooky ghost story. I liked it. I thought it was a spooky ghost story. Arkansas Transparency. You can do this. You can get rid of them damn pesky ghosts. Randy says it was a good story calling an exorcist. But then also, too, it's the land it's on, too, as well. So. Alright, guys, I have one from Spirit of the Trees. And she also, shared a picture with it. Which I'll show. Hopefully you could see it on my phone when I show it. So it starts off. So my husband was with a lady for about 4 years before me. They lived in a 2-story townhouse connected by townhomes on each side. My husband James was not super inclined to the paranormal, but apparently his girlfriend at the time was. For the 2 years they lived in the townhouse, his girlfriend would make comments like there was a negative energy and that it was haunted. They started hearing the creaking of someone going up and down the stairs at all times of the day. James chalked it up to it just being the neighbors going up and down their own stairs, so he brushed it off as nothing. Then for about a 3-month period between the times of 3:30 and 3:33 a.m., the girlfriend would get a voicemail. No ringing, just the ding from the voicemail. When she checked the voicemail, there was no message, just silence for a few seconds. James thought it was weird, but didn't really think about it. Then James snapped a picture of his girlfriend in the apartment just playing around, of the girlfriend at the time. They were both shocked to see an apparition of a blonde-haired woman joining in on the photo. See attached photo, which I will show you guys when I finish the story. Once James saw the image, he started to believe they might actually be experiencing a haunting. Crazy thing is, when he and this girlfriend broke up and she moved out, he had a very vivid dream there about being in the bed sleeping. He was in the bed, and next to the bed was 3 shadows, a man and 2 children sitting down, and a blonde-haired woman standing up. In the dream, he got the feeling that the man had done something to all of them. The blonde-haired woman was acting frantic and waving her arms, almost like a warning. It made him wake up, and he looked in the direction of where he saw them in his dream, expecting them to be there, but they were not. He moved out shortly after that, but after that, he never shook that feeling of being watched while he was there. And then this is the photo, but I don't know if you guys could see it. I'll try to get it so you guys don't get a glare. So this is the photo of the then girlfriend. Trying not to get the glare. So what do you guys think? Yeah, I can actually. Spirit of the Trees, do you mind if I drop the picture in the Telegram group? Bernadette says creepy. Rochelle says she looks mad. Jennifer Marie says it was such a creepy story. Susan Reich says she looks demonic. It's Spirit of the Trees says, yeah, the woman behind her is the opera. Spirit of the Trees, can I share the picture on the Grayson Report Telegram? Is that cool with you? Because if I show it off my phone, there's a glare. Spirit of the Tree says I can, so it's gonna be Wonder Why Ghost Photobomb Pics. It's crazy because it's a
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, the ghosts don't like me. Watch something. My camera's probably gonna freeze next. Watch, guys. Susan saying haunted mic. Yeah, I think so. 'Cause seriously, the last stream I did, it didn't go out at all. And then, oh no, I added the music just in case my mic went out, so you don't just hear dead air. Water dragon goes, good heavens, she speaks. Spirit of the trees goes, yes, the blonde haired woman was taking a stand. Jennifer Burry saying you might have to chat with the ghost before your streams and ask them nicely to leave you alone. I think I might. Deep in the Rocky saying it's Mercury retrograde, but it was doing it before the Mercury retrograde. Shiloh Toto says it's too funny. You're a ghost channel and your mic goes out more than anybody, and I watch a lot of channels. I know. I don't know what's up with it. Water Dragon goes audio 101, no dead air. Exactly. That's why I added the music. Because sometimes too I pause, and just in case, so you know I'm still here. Because I personally stop. Brandon goes, what about the orbs in your studio? I have no idea. Jules is thinking it's my dad or my mom, which I'm thinking too. D Nice is going, we're lucky they were cool ghosts. Spirit of the Tree says, nah, not ask the ghost, just ask your spirit guides to protect your stream. That's even better. I should do that. Tim Rocket goes, here's what I do. Casper, that was funny. Now behave and be nice. And it goes away. I may have to sage my mic or something. Slayer Selection says, you know, spirits can affect lights, mics, and a lot of electronics. I do know that, but I think well, I want to say it's my computer, but then last stream it was flawless. It did not go out at all. So I'm not sure like what's going on, to be honest with you. And it went out a lot this time. Rochelle says, feel strongly it has a woman present, and I want to say your grandma. Rochelle, the crazy thing about that is I have a picture of my grandmother in her 20s in this very room with my grandfather. I'm not sure when that picture was taken of my grandfather, but I have both of their pictures here. I also have, which is funny that you said my grandmother, because I do have a little mirror on the wall that was my grandmother's. And it looks like an old mirror. So it's kind of funny, Rochelle, that you see that. Osiris says, better burn the sage and the nag champa. Jennifer Marie says, don't piss off the ghost. Lisa, don't challenge. Oh, trust me, I watched enough to not. I'm not knocking back, number one. I'm not. I'm not going to say I'll be right back. Burn it down. Oh, it's funny that you talk about a spirit talker because I've tried it, but nothing pops up. And I also happened to get my first ghost. I don't have it with me though, it's in the other room. I actually have an Ovulus. I purchased my first ghost hunting equipment. And it didn't come up with anything. Daniel's breaker popped. I just got back from resetting my breaker. Whoa. Jennifer Marie saying your grandma is proving she could still work electronics. That's a weird thing, though. My grandmother was born in 1905, and she passed away in 2001 at the age of 95. Bernadette says, "Well, never say never." I'm gonna keep trying, Bernadette, and see what pops up. So, anyways, what did you guys think of Spirit of the Trees story? Which I thought, and if you guys are on my Telegram, the picture that she sent is also there. Because I get too much glare on my phone. And I have something else in here of my grandmother, but it broke, but I kept it in here. I was so mad because it fell off it broke a while ago. But it was my grandmother's, so it was my grandmother's, but it's still in here because I'm trying to figure out how I can put it back together because it fell off my table and I got so mad. Rochelle says, "Does blue sapphire mean anything to you?" No. Nothing at the moment, but I'll start thinking about that, Rochelle. Slayer Selection says, "Couldn't see the photo, but great story." Water Dragon says, "Making it into your 90s is a good long life." It is, because a lot of people do not even make it to 80 or to 70 or to 50. So she did live a good long life. But I liked Spirit of the Trees, and as I was saying, story. And as I was saying, I looked at the photo first before I read the comments, and I actually was like, "There's something." I didn't think of the blonde-haired woman, but it did look like at first, because when you first see it, it just looks like a blur, like a blurry picture, like a like bad camera. And then when I started like enlarging it, I go, "There's something there." D Nice said both my grandmothers lived to 90, so 91. Oh, that's cool. That is, I hope to make it into my 90s. Susan Reich says, "Can I show the photo again?" I can, but I don't know if I'm going to get a glare of it. Trying not to get the glare of what's behind my computer. But here's the photo. And you could kind of, I mean, you can't really, because there's a glare. There you go. Here's the photo, guys. Randy said, "I had a great grandma. She lived to 101. Chris says, "My grandparents didn't make it to 80. Heather whatever says, "I come from a long line of old farts, really nice ones, nicer than me." Jennifer says, "There's definitely an apparition behind the woman in your photo at Spirit of the Trees." Michael Nothing looks like he sent me a ghost story. He did. Okay, I have another ghost story because he happened to get it to me in time. From Michael Nothing. It starts off at the young age of 6. We moved to a new house. At the new home, many strange occurrences started to happen to everyone in the home, experienced both individually and as a group. My personal experiences started in the evening. I always had an uneasy time falling asleep in my bunk bed. Top bunk, of course, as a child. I would feel and hear a presence move from the foot of my bed, and it would slowly move along the side of my bunk bed. He would stare down and watch me, sometimes for minutes, up to an hour, which felt like an eternity. I would pull my blanket over my head and pray that this thing would just leave me alone, walk out the door as it had every other night. It honestly felt like any day something could happen. I cannot explain how, but this entity did not have good intentions. But alas, he would always head out that door. I found out later my tablet's doing something weird, and it's I found out later time in life that mom and my stepfather were experiencing hearing footsteps walking from the hallway where my room was and into the kitchen. They would hear cupboards and cabinets opening and someone heavy footed walking around, but when they would check, everything was in place and no other person was present. I recalled one evening being woken in the middle of the night, being frozen. Now I know the official explanation for this event is sleep paralysis, but this was not that. I felt hands on my wrists and what felt like feet down on me. I could move a bit, though I was vastly overpowered, but nothing was there. I was in my room alone. I could only struggle to move and to scream, but nothing would happen. I would find out later that my mother experienced this as well, and only ever in that house for both of us. There was a time I was in the basement with my stepfather one time. He was military and was doing some training with me when the floor above us shook loudly and violently. Everything smashed, pots and pans rang out, and the noise thundered above us. We shared a quick look, then dashed up the stairs, and not a thing was moved. What did we hear? We lived in that house for 2 years while these strange occurrences would continue to happen. However, throughout my life following that home, I was just making sure you guys can still hear me. We lived in that house for 2 years while these strange occurrences would continue to happen. However, throughout my life following that home, I always had this uneasy feeling every night when I would go to bed. I always felt that presence, but I got used to it. I convinced myself I was crazy and it was all in my head. Fast forward to about 19, 20 years of age. I went out to visit my family and worked on the other side of the country for a few months, at which I stayed at my uncle's house. My uncle and aunt are very, very religious and believe in all of this spirits, demons, everything. Now, my uncle, one night, as we were driving out to his home late at night, he lives on an acreage or so. It's a bit of a drive out of the city, and he lives in the country. He looked at me while driving and said, I wasn't going to tell you about this, but decided I should. The first night you were here, I was woken up to a presence at the edge of my bed, but I went back to sleep thinking I was just groggy. I was shocked to hear him say this. As he continued talking, I felt a chill getting stronger, moving up the back of my spine into my neck. My uncle continues, I woke up again 20 minutes later and I could see this tall man standing over me. I couldn't see him with my eyes, but in my head he was tall and dark with a large brimmed hat. I turned over and said out loud to the entity, We don't want you here. You are not welcome. He went back to sleep for about 5 to 10 minutes and awoke again. My uncle got up and said to the entity strongly, This house is protected and you are not welcome here. Leave. You are not welcome. And he went back to sleep. Within an hour, one of my younger cousins runs into my uncle's room and tells him that she heard her name being called out just outside the window. She almost stuck her head out until she felt a feeling of potential dread. She slammed her window down and ran and talked to my uncle. At this point, in my car, while my uncle tells me this, I break down and start to cry. I have never told my experience to anyone before this. I had convinced myself I was crazy, but I knew then I wasn't. Everything I experienced was real because they also experienced what I had. This shadow man that followed me for years was finally gone. From that day on, I never had trouble sleeping again. That story is crazy. Thank you for sharing, Michael Nothing. Jennifer Marie says that moment of validation is everything. Heather whatever says scary. Spirit of the trees was like, ooh. Kate, wow, goosebumps. Rochelle saying, insane story. Thank you for sharing. Elaine goes, that is scary. Bernadette saying, that's crazy cool at Michael Nothing. Susan Reich saying, very scary. Michael Nothing, I'm glad the dark man with the wide brim hat doesn't follow you anymore and you can sleep. Because that is scary. Water Dragon goes, that was from Michael. Yes, it was. It was from Michael Nothing. Gunner Girl says, that was awesome. Thanks for sharing, Michael Nothing. Daniel missed it. Tim Rocket says, I still heard my dog after it passed away for about a year. Didn't really bother me. Kind of cute and funny. Wow. What is going on with my tablet? Yeah, the ghosts do not want anything to work for me today. Spirit of the Tree says the Hat Man is real. Gene Rick, what's up? Forget it. My tablet doesn't want to work. The ghost does not want me using my tablet. Alright, guys, I also have this article that Bernadette sent me through the same email. Will Mars is saying Jean Rick's birthday was yesterday. Let's celebrate her today. So, guys, give Jean Rick some hearts. And say happy birthday. To Jean Rick. Gunner Girl said, my dog passed away 3 years ago. I'm not a believer, but I've seen he used to outline on the bed where he used to be. Whoa. Alright, guys, here's a little article. Hold on, it would help if I shared it. That Bernadette shared. And it's from the Los Angeles Almanac. Oh my god, there's like so many ads. Alright, this is called The Legend of the Underground People. In the 1933, mining engineer George Warren Schofield related stories told to him of Hopi legend describing a race of lizard people, not reptilian, but so named for their reverence of the lizard, who this is written weirdly. 5,000 years ago, built 3 great underground cities near the Pacific coast, including one beneath Los Angeles. The cities were said to have been built underground as protection against great cataclysmic fires on the surface. Schofield took up the cause of locating the city beneath Los Angeles. He reported that his underground city was laid out in the shape of the revered lizard, extending from its head under northeast Los Angeles to its tail under the downtown Central Library. The ancient builders, purportedly more advanced intellectually than modern humans, Sorry, guys. I had to put the chat on my phone. The ancient builders, purportedly more advanced intellectually than modern humans, tunneled through rocks using chemicals and constructed huge dome caverns housing 1,000 families. The underground city was further connected by a series of additional tunnels to the ocean where the ebb and flow of seawater forced air into the labyrinths. How their civilization came to an end seemed a bit unclear. In 1934, Schofield was incidentally developed a device he called a radio X-ray, announced that he located tunnels in a treasure room containing gold objects beneath Fort Moore Hill in downtown Los Angeles. After acquiring funds to do excavating, Schofield obtained permission from authorities, agreeing to split the value of his finds with the county to drill a 350-foot shaft. The work was interrupted by cave-in concerns, however, and by spring ground to a halt when funding and media attention ceased. Shortly thereafter, Schofield disappeared from public view. He died in 1957 and is buried in North Hollywood. Just prior to Schofield's 1934 drilling, Pico Rivera resident and psychic Edith Eldon Robinson reported a vision of a vast city in mammoth tunnels extending to the seashore. I don't like how this article was written, but it's super interesting. Guys, so what did you think of the underground tunnels in Los Angeles? It just was not greatly written. Ozzy, what is up? Lisa Boo says, interesting. Bernadette, I so want to explore them. I don't know if they let anybody in there. But that would be a cool place to explore, though. I agree with you, Bernadette. Sabrina Hull says, my uncle used to tell me there was a city under LA. He said, out of ways, the seafloor drops, but it goes way under LA. Slayer Selection says, after my cat passed away, he would come visit me and he would be there walking right by me. Then he disappeared. This happens from time to time, but lately he hasn't visited. That is cool that you see your cat. I mean, it's probably a little unsettling, but kind of comforting at the same time. I think that would freak me out at first, and then after a while, I'd be like, it would comfort me. Ozzy saying, getting ready to go out and listen to my cousin play some live music. Can hang with the pack for a while. Oh, that sounds cool, Ozzy. Lots of fun. Chris Barber says, lots of weirdos in and under LA. Water Dragon goes, anyone ever read Sandman Slim? I believe there were LA underground caves in those books too. Diane said, I went on a tour of underground Seattle. City burnt down in the early 1900s. Be a Stone says, sneak in. Gene Ray! Thank you for the super chat. I believe vampires are real. Lisa, hearts for Gene Rick. I can't talk right now. It'd probably be kind of dangerous though in there too, because in an underground tunnel, because they're super old. Randy, I think you are, but then it's funny too because my phone's in a time warp. I'm trying to get the chat pulled up on there and it doesn't want to work. Spirit of the Tree says, my first love at 18 was a male cat I named Pretty Boy Floyd. He visited me for years after his passing. He would brush up on my legs in the kitchen while I was cooking like he did in life. Wow. That is neat. That's neat. Sabrina says, must be where the aliens are hiding, the caves under LA. Definitely, or in the forest, or in the mountains. We don't really have a forest here. We have the mountains. Alright, guys, my next article is one that Nerd Report shared with me. I have a lot of articles that people shared with me today. That is kind of it's a short article. It's kind of interesting. It's on Coast to Coast, and it's Chinese vlogger loses lawsuit over fake haunted house video. A popular vlogger in China was forced to issue an apology and pay restitution to a homeowner who took him to court after the man posted a video wherein he claimed her house was haunted. The weird case reportedly began when the internet star identified as Lu somehow managed to sneak into the residence of a woman named Zhao and film footage of what he asserted was paranormal activity. The video was apparently convincing enough that it went viral on social media in China, amassing millions of views and sparking all manner of speculation surrounding the ghostly happenings in the home. Upon discovering that her house, which is not actually haunted, had been used as the setting for the viral video, Zhao was understandably upset and attempted to get Lu to remove the wildly popular footage. As one might imagine, based on the traffic that the paranormal production generated, the vlogger was unwilling to do so and instead simply blocked the aggrieved homeowner. To her credit, Zhao did not let this deter her, and she decided to sue Lu for what she alleged was a violation of Chinese recently passed cyber violence law. Despite the vlogger's insistence that he was innocent, the court disagreed and sided with the homeowner, who received a settlement of around $400 as well as a written apology from the internet star. So my thing when I was reading this, how is this considered cyber violence? that Water Dragon! Thank you for the super sticker. Hearts for Water Dragon. And Alice is in the house. And thank you for the super sticker as well. Water Dragon with this cool black cat. And Alice with the fitness pair saying cool. Hearts for Alice and Water Dragon. Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Heather Whatever said we listened to Coast driving down to Mexico when the kids were growing up. One way to stay awake on the road. Tim Rocket says it's China. Enough said. Thank you, Spirit of the Trees, for your Cash App. Hearts for Spirit of the Trees. Thank you for the support. Hearts for Spirit of the Trees, guys, as well. Thank you. Slayer Selection says, I love Coast to Coast. They do have some cool articles on there. Mr. Ruck Gaming, what is up? Delea Lux, what is up? The weird thing is that Chinese vlogger probably got more. I want to say he got more than $400 for his video. If it went viral, I want to say he got more. And she only got $400 in an apology. That's what I felt. I felt like, I mean, I get, well, $400 is still, it could get you, but still, I feel like he might have gotten more money from the video itself than what she won. Delay Alexa saying hot weather and humidity. Bernadette says $400 can buy you bread and cheese. That's all. Which nowadays, like, gas is like, depending on what your car is, it's like $60 here at least, or more, depending on your car. I mean, if you drive this big old SUV, which I don't, but if you drive a big old SUV, it's probably costs you like $100 and something to fill your car. So I believe it, Bernadette. The way things are. Alright, guys, the next article is where I Google ghost in the news and see what pops up. And I found this article on the Marloca says 120. Is from the Daily Mail. And I believe the Daily Mail, I try not to do articles on the Daily Mail because I think the Daily Mail is like a tabloid site, but they do have some cool articles. So I can't I do find some cool articles from them. Some absurd ones too, but it goes, did digging up a garden lawn unleash the ghostly forces of hell on a sleepy English village video? Maureen and daughter V wrote to Danny Robbins about the events in Averham. The pair described seeing floating balls of light and the sound of horses' hooves. Maureen lifts another crisper mouth. It's a Friday night in the 1990s and the TV burbles in the background, a BBC sitcom she's been ignoring for 20 minutes. She looks over at her husband, Christopher, who's not watching it either. It occurs to her how little they talk these days. If it weren't for their daughters, would they talk at all? She glances out the living room window at the unbroken view across dark fields. Nothing really happens in the Nottinghamshire village of Averham, which is the very definition of sleepy. No pub, no shop. It's a ghost town. That's when Maureen hears it, jiggling harnesses. She looks out the window again, but sees only her reflection. There's nothing there, yet she can hear them coming closer. A moment later, it's like a minor earthquake. the very fabric of the house torn apart by a stampede of thunderous hooves as a pack of horses burst through the window and careers forward toward her. There must be 100 of them, an explosion of sound that envelops Maureen and Christopher, then rages, then ragged snorts and whinies of animals galloping for dear life directly into the house, cutting a swath of noisy, steaming, terrifying chaos. Then they are gone. Just like that, the television is still wittering in the background. Maureen looks at Christopher, his usual composure replaced by slack-jaw horror. That Friday night of the galloping horses wasn't an isolated incident in Averham. It was part of a much stranger, utterly chilling story that would define their lives and the lives of a neighboring family forever. I don't believe in ghosts. Well, that's what I'd have confidently told you up until the evening of June 22nd, 2016. It's the night before the Brexit referendum, and I'm sitting opposite one of my dearest friends, someone I know and trust, as she tells me she has seen a ghost. It's not so much what she's saying that astonishes me, but how she's saying it, describing it as vividly as if she witnessed a crime. This moment of insight was the germ of an idea that eventually grew into my play, 222, a ghost story, about a couple where one partner believes there's a ghost in the house, while the other refuses to count to count countenance that this is even possible. It opened in 2021, and at various times Lily Allen and Cheryl Cole have starred in it. It's still running in London's West End. As part of my research, I asked on social media how many other people had experienced what my friend had. The response was astonishing. The accounts I received were compelling, powerful, often terrifying, and sometimes deeply moving, and they came from rational, sane, credible people. Most of those who contacted me had told very few about their experiences, and many had never told anyone, including their partner, for fear of having their sanity questioned. That was certainly the case with Maureen's family. Her daughter V wrote to me about the terrifying events in Averham. Her opening line, "I'm a technical director in the food industry with a background in horticultural and farming," didn't exactly set my pulse racing, but by the time I'd finished reading her email, I felt convinced I was looking at one of the most unsettling ghost stories I've ever received, particularly as it wasn't just Maureen who'd had ghostly experiences, but V too. One of the oddest aspects of the case is the mother and daughter had never discussed it until recently. We carried on being terribly British, Maureen admitted when I met with her and V. Most of all, Marie didn't want to frighten the children. Maureen. It was only at V's grandfather's 100th birthday party that Maureen, a former justice of the peace and well-respected figure, asked her daughter if she'd ever had any strange experiences when they lived in Averham. "What, Mum? You mean apart from the disembodied voices and the flashing lights and the horses and the strange cold and being absolutely terrified and knowing that somebody or someone was watching you? Apart from that," V replied. 7-year-old V knew that the same sequence of events played out every time the men were outside. She called for her father, who came into her room. "They're here again," she told him. She heard him open the front door, watched him walk past her window and do a full circle of the bungalow, and then back around again for good measure. "No one's there, darling," he told her. She knew with a sinking feeling that they'd be back later, and the next night, and the next. Their words never audible, but their rhythms distant, like men sitting round a campfire talking in the dark. The first ghostly things she remembers were the lights. She'd seen them in the hallway. First, it was huge white flashes. At the same time, the doors and windows would shake. Then it evolved into what she described as great balls of light that seemed to float around the home. Then there were the horses. The most dramatic time she heard The most dramatic time she heard them was when she was watching TV. The curtains were closed, and she heard the stampede of heavy-hoofed big horses. As they drew nearer, the security lights went on in the garden, seemingly verifying their existence. Yet, when she threw the curtains back, there was nothing there. As V grew up, the house terrified her to the core, but it was not the lights or the voices or even the horses that scared her the most. The thing that made her feel sick to the pit of her stomach was a feeling, no, a knowledge, that there was something here. She knew exactly where it was, in the corner of the living room by the drinks cabinet. It was dark and hot, like a pulsating force of evil. I asked V what it was. If I had to describe it, she said, I'd have to say it was tall. It had a cloak, and it just used to stand in the corner. The nub of what so scared V about the house and still scares her to this day is the feeling of being watched by something she can describe in detail, yet only felt and never saw. One day in her teens, V came home to find the front door wide open and her mother nowhere to be seen. It was only at that 100th birthday party that V found out why. Marie told her how that day she had a dreadful feeling, the certain and total conviction that someone was standing behind her. She turned to see a tall man in a long black cloak and hood. As she could do was look on helplessly, mesmerized by the figure with its hands over its head, wielding an axe. She thought of Christopher and the girls, how they would cope without her, though she would also wondered uncharitably if Christopher would even notice she was gone. She closed her eyes, willing the man not to bring the axe down on her head. Then Marie opened her eyes and sunshine was flooding in. Life was back to normal, but she simply couldn't be in that kitchen any longer. Though the mist of panic, she ran to the through the mist of her panic, she ran to the home of their neighbors, the Turners. While his wife Judy tried to calm Marie down, John Turner hid in the kitchen. He would have dearly liked Marie from round the corner to leave right now, but of course he couldn't say that. The story she had blurted out was horribly familiar to him, because this was what Judy and his eldest daughter Ginny had been describing for years. The things which he'd told them couldn't be true. Against his will, Marie's sudden appearance forced John to think that something very strange really was going on in this sleepy little corner of Abraham, and that it might actually be his fault. When I met her, Ginny told me that in the late 1980s, when she was 13, her dad had decided to get rid of some of her playthings, including a toy pram, which he decided to bury in their back garden. As he dug, he came across a large old flagstone, the remains of an older stone building that had stood where the Turner's house was now. Ginny said they looked a bit like the stones of a nearby Newark castle. All the strange things that would happen in their house seemed to emanate from this point. The disruption of the earth in their garden and the strangest of those things focused around teenager Ginny. The first time it happened was when she was doing her homework. She had a sensation of sinking through the floor, seeing the area where their house was at it as it had been in the past. I'm gonna take a drink, guys. I was crying because I thought I was going to get stuck, Ginny told me. I mean, how do you come back from the 17th century? When they found the flagstones, the Turners called Newark Museum, who said they would send out someone to assess whether the find was of any historic interest. The next day, a man called Gordon arrived with a team of archaeologists in tow to explore the site. Teenagers can have vivid imaginations, and maybe Ginny had overdone the homework or was excited about the charismatic Gordon and his team turning up and discovering artifacts from the 1600s. Bits of pottery, a cup of candle holder as they dug, but then other odd things began to happen to the Turners. One day, they came down to breakfast to find the door into their kitchen was locked, except it couldn't be, because the lock had been painted over many years ago and wouldn't budge. But now it was locked, and try as they might, no one could shift it. John was forced to use a drill to open it. Then there were the footsteps. The whole family, including their dogs, heard them going up and down the stairs when there was no one there. The clincher for Ginny and her mother that something truly disturbing was happening came a few days later. This was the day that Ginny saw a ghost. In fact, not one, but two. Ginny crossed the garden in the dim evening light, being careful to avoid the deep hole left abandoned until Gordon and his team returned tomorrow. She opened the door to the hutch to put in food for her rabbit, Bugs Bunny. As she reached into the cage, she heard voices wafting in the air. Walking towards her across the garden were two soldiers. They were in clothes that, to Ginny's eye, looked as if they were from the English Civil War. They passed so close to her that she could see the patterns of the buttons on their uniform and hear their conversation. They were using swear words she shouldn't really have known at her age, but did. She made out the word bastard king. They seemed utterly oblivious to her standing by the rabbit hutch, staring at them. She could feel the blood pumping quicker in her veins, but she thought it was the surprise of the vision more than fear. There was something wonderfully, weirdly fascinating about it. The next day, she told Gordon, who asked her to sketch the men. She remembered the buttons and did the best to outline what the pattern looked like. I recognize those buttons, he said. Their design matches the ones worn by the Parliamentarian Army Regiment stationed in the area during the Civil War. Ginny caught the words, "We may have disturbed something here." The following week, Gordon confided in Ginny and her parents that he had experienced these kinds of things before, as if an archaeologist dig had somehow woken those who died there. He suggested they all say the Lord's Prayer in a homemade attempt to get whatever had been unleashed from the hole to move on. As her parents prayed, Ginny turned, and there, in the dining room, she saw a soldier. This was not one of the men she had seen in the garden. He looked frightened. There was another soldier behind him, and they seemed to be enemies, not comrades. As she watched, the man behind thrust a pike towards the body of the other man. She saw the metal erupt through the other soldier's flesh, and he fell forward, crumpling. Ginny screamed. Her parents looked up sharply, and Ginny's eyes moved quickly to Gordon, who was looking in the same direction. "You saw it too?" she asked quietly. He nodded, his face pale. Later, when they both... Spirit of the Truth goes, "That's great, Lisa. Great reading. Thank you." Later, when they had both recovered, he tried to explain it to her. Why they saw this thing and her parents did not. "Think of it as radio waves. We're on one radio station normally, but you and I just plugged into another one. Am I team skeptic or team believer? I think I'm team not sure. I feel damn close, but I'm still waiting for that moment I experience something myself. Listening to what happened at Abraham, it strikes me as a very strange that there were two houses virtually next to each other, with a mother and daughter hearing ghost horses and either seeing or sensing armed men wandering about. And I can tell you that when I look into the eyes of people like V, Marine, Ginny, and Judy and hear their stories, I believe 100% that they are telling me the truth, and that scares me. Then there is Christopher, a quiet, thoughtful, emotionally distant university lecturer. I thought he was peripheral to the story until V told me how, a few months before he died in 2020, she had remembered her father of all the times she had heard people talking in the garden at night and how he would reassure her that there was no one there. Had that been a dream, she wondered, or something conjured up from her childish mind? What Christopher said in reply sent a shiver down my spine. "Darling," he told her, "I used to hear them all the time." Dun dun dun! What did you guys think? Actually, this was pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to be good. That was actually pretty good. What did you guys think of that story? That was a great story. Heather whatever says too scary. Aussie Walk says sounded very detailed. Water Dragon goes, "I like how they compared it to plugging into another radio station. That's cool." I like that too. That was kind of cool. Aaron Cooper is like, "Creepy." I liked that story. That it was long. I was like, but I liked it. That was a good story. Daniel Moss says it was good. Deep in the Rocky says great story. Rochelle says, creep in, you are on fire, Lisa, with your stories tonight, and all of you whom shared. Thank you, Rochelle. Spirit of the Trees was like, so good. It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed that one. Alice Martinez saying spooky. Elaine was saying really good story, was glued. Spirit Cheese said, Lisa said, dum dum dum. I liked how he ended it. That is, the ending is very important to a good story. D Nice said, literally at the edge of my seat while you were reading that. It was a really good story. I really enjoyed it. Alice Martinez said, good stories tonight. And that one, I actually read it with you guys. I didn't read it beforehand. So I didn't know it was like that type of story. So that's kind of cool. Diane says, great ending. Heather Whatever says, true extra goosebumps. I like stories like that. D Nice with the that's so cool. Alright guys, I have 2 videos I want to show you, and then we'll get into the vampires. No more stories, D-Nice. We're going to talk about vampires, and I have some spooky videos to show. Water Dragon says it would be cool to look into ghost stories involving past serial killers or something. Aussie Walks goes, I love vampire stories. Gunner Girl says, great stories tonight as usual. Thank you, Gunner Girl. Alright, I was going through TikTok. It's weird that I go through TikTok to look for spooky videos, but I don't really TikTok. If that makes any sense. But I found this one. It's more of a photo. If you guys can see it, I don't know if you guys can see it because sometimes TikTok, I can't make it any bigger for some odd reason. Even if I zoom it here. Well, anyways, this person, Internet Girl, she posted a picture of her mom and her aunt with their dolls. And you could see this creepy doll on the wall. I love the dolls back then. They must be like around my age. Because I remember having a Cabbage Patch doll. But they point out, they notice that this said Cabbage Patch doll has a frown. And I don't know if you are familiar with Cabbage Patch dolls. Most Cabbage Patch dolls have a smile. So that's what kind of is weird about. What do you think of this photo? Do you think it, because I don't remember my Cabbage Patch doll. I think I still have mine somewhere if I can find it. I don't think my Cabbage Patch doll had a frown. So she just happened to be looking at photos of her mom and her aunt, and she particularly gets this photo, and she notices the Cabbage Patch doll has this odd look on her face. A frown. Do you guys recall ever seeing a Cabbage Patch doll having a frown? D Nice says it's probably the angle. Rochelle says all dolls can be eerie depending on the backstory. Chris Barber. Oh my gosh. My favorite vampire movie, I know I'm going bird, is Bram Stoker's Dracula. I have the poster behind me. That is my ultimate favorite one, so I'm glad there's someone else that likes it. Gary Oldman was awesome in there. Chris Barber goes, I always thought those things were fugly. Heather Wetter says no frowning. Diane says yes, they usually have a smile with dimples. Alice Edie's Cabbage Patch dolls. They actually banned them. I don't know what, I don't even remember. The elementary school I went to, it was on the news because of a Cabbage Patch doll. And they actually banned us from taking our Cabbage Patch dolls to school, but I don't remember why. Spirit of the Trees goes, I remember Cabbage Patch, but not the frowns. Gunner Girl with the Raggedy Ann. I think a Raggedy Ann looks more creepier than a Cabbage Patch doll. Alice goes, no frown. Vic, what's up? So this is what they just noticed as she was just looking through photos, so that kind of creeped them out. Rochelle goes, I once received a doll from my mother's good friend from her bowling league days. This doll had a very real look, and the weird part is I only had bizarre feelings with this doll looking at me. Dolls are creepy, but I like them. Ozzy goes, I remember there used to be different dolls like Cabbage Patch Kids, but they were messy. I think they were called Garbage Pail Kids. Yes! They were like cards. Water Dragon goes, Bram Stoker's Dracula was a great movie. Oldman as the young prince was pretty handsome as I recall. Diane says they were pudgy babies. Elaine goes, yes, favorite vampire movie. The book is also great. No way. Rochelle saying my brother had a daughter years after and she looked just like this doll. Whoa, that is creepy. That is creepy, Rochelle. Kyle GT goes, Furbies freaked me out. Yeah, they kind of did me too, because they had those big old eyes and they were just like looking at you funny. Chris Barber says, I played more with Hot Wheels than dolls most of the time. Same here. I was more into playing with cars than I was with dolls. I mean, I had my Barbie dolls, but I didn't really play with them. I had like the soldier ones. Water Dragon goes, I wish I could remember the title and author, but I read a novel that was essentially Vlad Dracula's autobiography. Starts with him as a boy. Great read if you can find it. I'll have to find that, Water Dragon. That sounds interesting. Also, Water Dragon, the dolls with the flip-up eyes freaked me out. Spirit of the Trees used to have a Cabbage Patch backpack. I could unzip her body and store stuff inside. I even have a pic wearing it. I was like 7. Heather, whatever goes, Furbies were fun. I have one here somewhere, never change the batteries, and if you tipped it upside down, it would say, uh-oh. Rochelle goes, definitely strange, but she now is older and not a doll, but still looks like that doll. Love her. She is my niece, so definitely weird. That is weird. That is, Rochelle. Vic said, used to think troll dolls were evil. I used to stare at them, waiting for the evil to come out. They they kind of are weird looking too. Ozzy's asking, have I seen Dracula Untold? I don't think I have. Lane saying my cat took my troll dolls and slaughtered them. Tim Rocket, I was weird. I tore apart my toys just to collect spare parts. That was my collection phase. I used to tear things apart, but I could never put them back together. Diane goes, I was given a Betsy Wetsy, feed them a bottle and they peed on you. I think they still have dolls like that to this day. Where you feed them and change your diapers and all that good stuff. Shiloh Toto goes, I had a golden that ripped all the faces off and took all the stuffing out and carried the skin around until we finally threw it away, which could be forever. She also ripped the face off the blankets. Alright, guys. Alright, one more video. And then we'll get into the vampires that I wanted to share. Let me see if I can find it. Alright. Okay, this is from Filtran do Mysterios. And pay close attention to this video, guys. I'm gonna even put sound on this one. I think I could put sound on this one. Alright, pay close attention to this one, guys. Close attention. Guys, paying attention. Making sure you guys are paying attention. Alright, I'm just gonna play it. Sorry, guys, I had to. Sorry. I can't full screen it. I wish I could. Sorry, guys, I had to do it on that one. I had to. I had to. Be nice, like, how dare you? Vic was like, I freaking knew it. Daniel was like, I knew it by the hair in the face. Diane goes, that was creepy. Chris Barber goes, I didn't jump. I didn't either. It is creepy, but it's funny. When I first saw it, I didn't jump or anything when I first saw it, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Matthew missed it. Water Dragon goes, I was paying attention. That was hilarious. Margie C, cool stories. Thank you. Gunner Girl, I can play it again, guys. I mean, it doesn't get the same effect the second time, but I'll play it again. I can't make it any bigger because even when I zoom in on my screen, it still stays the same on your guys' side. All right. Rochelle goes, not cool, Lisa. Ozzy goes, I hate jump scares. The first one I ever saw, I threw my phone, screamed, and ran through my house. Now I hold my phone sideways if I think there might be a jump scare. Rochelle goes, okay, good one. You got us. Heather, whatever, goes, I love it. Rochelle, it's totally is like that screaming guy video. That don't remind me of that video. Oh my gosh. He was like, oh. I'm sorry. If I can find, I'll play it again if I can find it. On my next stream, I'll play it again so you guys would know what I'm talking about. That's hilarious. That video was hilarious. If you guys don't remember that one. Alice says the screaming is scary. Diane goes, Attack of the Killer Doll. Matthew goes, reminds me of the horror movie Dolly Dearest. Gunner Go goes, remember the ones on the computer that screamed while you were doing something? Matthew says you should see the commercial with a car driving around from afar, then a zombie shows up at the camera. Water Dragon, let me see if I can find it, and then I'll show it on the next stream. So I can find it. I've come across it. So I'll just have to search for it, and I'll show you. It's hilarious. You guys will be laughing. It's the guy that makes it funny, not what. I was laughing so hard. It was hilarious. Bernadette goes, I want to give a huge shout out to Keanu Reeves. He is 59 today. 59, looking fine as wine. He does look good for his age. Whoa. Matthew goes, yes, there's a Dolly Dearest in 1991. That is, wow. Brendan goes, that is so cool. I feel like my ears are crooked. Chris! Wow, D Nice goes, my dad is 11 years older than him. Whoa, my dad is turning 70 on the 6th. That is crazy. Daniel, I love that. Daniel goes, I have to go install a couple of Wi-Fi extenders so I can get you in more places. I'll be listening on my phone. I love that. Go for it, Daniel. Ozzy says, I saw Keanu once get out of a car at a little beach village when he was living out here during the filming of The Matrix. He was so lovely. I was only meters away from him. That is cool, Ozzy. Thank you, Daniel. Alright, guys, we are going to go into. Would help if I was at the beginning of the article. But we are going into vampires. And no, I'm not talking about the ones that sparkle in the daylight. I'm talking about the manly vampire. No, I'm just kidding. I'm talking about the real vampires. No. This is from the history. And it's vampire history. It's from history.com. So it goes, vampires are evil mythological beings who roam the world at night searching for people whose blood they feed upon. They may be the best known classic monsters of all. Most people associate vampires with Count Dracula, the legendary blood-sucking subjects of Bram Stoker's epic novel Dracula, which was published in 1897. But the history of vampires began long before Stoker was born. What is a vampire? There are almost as many different characteristics of vampires as there are vampire legends. But the main characteristics of vampires, or vampires, is they drink human blood. They typically drain their victims' blood using their sharp fangs, killing them and turning them into vampires. In general, vampires hunt at night since sunlight weakens their powers. Some may have the ability to morph into a bat or a wolf. Vampires have super strength and often have a hypnotic sensual effect on their victims. They can't see their image in a mirror and cast no shadows. Alice Martinez says Lost Boys. The one thing I liked about Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman is that they had wolves in there, and I was like, yes! Vlad the Impaler. It's thought Bram Stoker's name, Count Dracula, after Vlad Dracul, also known as Vlad the Impaler. Vlad Dracul was born in Transylvania, Romania. He ruled Wallachia, Romania, off and on from 1456 to 1462. Some historians describe him as a just yet brutally cruel ruler who valiantly fought off the Ottoman Empire. He earned his nickname because his favorite way to kill his enemies was to impale them on wooden stakes.
Stimulant use disorder
No,
is a disease,
no
not a
ads.
choice.
And they also show this in Bram Stoker's Dracula, if you guys are familiar with that movie. According to legends, Vlad Dracul enjoyed dining amidst his dying victims and dipping his bread in their blood. Whether those gory tales are true is unknown. Many people believe these stories sparked Stoker's imagination to create Count Dracula, who was also from Transylvania, sucked his victim's blood, and could be killed by driving a stake through his heart. But according to Dracula expert Elizabeth Miller, Stoker didn't base Count Dracula's life on Vlad Dracul. Nonetheless, the similarities between the two are intriguing. Are vampires real? Vampire superstition thrived in the Middle Ages, especially as the plague decimated entire towns. The disease often left behind bleeding mouth lesions on its victim, which to the uneducated was sure sign of vampirism. It wasn't uncommon for anyone with an unfamiliar physical or emotional illness to be labeled a vampire. Many researchers have pointed to porphyria, a blood disorder that can cause severe blisters on skin that is exposed to sunlight, as a disease that may have been linked to the vampire legend. Some symptoms of porphyria can be temporarily relieved by ingesting blood. Other diseases blamed for prompting the vampire myth include rabies or goiter. When a when a suspected vampire died, their bodies were often disinterred to search for signs of vampirism. In some cases, a stake was thrust through the corpse's heart to make sure they stayed dead. Other accounts describe the decapitation and burning of the corpses of suspected vampires well into the 19th century. Mercy Brown. Mercy Brown may rival Count Dracula as the most notorious vampire. Unlike Count Dracula, however, Mercy was a real person. She lived in Exeter, Rhode Island, and was the daughter of George Brown, a farmer. After George lost many family members, including Mercy, in the late 1800s to tuberculosis, his community used Mercy as a scapegoat to explain their deaths. It was common at the time to blame several deaths in one family on the undead. The bodies of each dead family member were often exhumed in search for signs of vampirism. When Mercy's body was exhumed and didn't display severe decay, not surprising since her body was placed in an above ground vault during a New England winter, the townspeople accused her of being a vampire and making her family sick from her icy grave. They cut out her heart, burned it, then fed the ashes to her sick brother. Perhaps, not surprisingly, he died shortly after. Whoa. Real vampires. Although modern science has silenced the vampire fears of the past, people who call themselves vampires do exist. They're normal seeming people who drink small amount of bloods in a perhaps misguided effort to stay healthy. Communities of self-identified vampires can be found on the internet in cities and towns around the world. To avoid rekindling vampire superstitions, most modern vampires keep to themselves and typically conduct their feeding rituals, which include drinking the blood of willing donors in private. Some vampires don't ingest human blood but claim to feed off the energies of others. Many state that if they don't feed regularly, they become agitated or depressed. Vampires became mainstream after Dracula was published. Since then, Count Dracula's legendary persona has been the topic of many films, books, and television shows. Given the fascination people have with all things horror, vampires, real or imagined, are likely to continue to inhabit the earth for years to come. What did you guys think of vampires? I like vampires. I do. I like werewolves and vampires. Tim Rocket says vampires are just sexual perverts, nothing to fear but the exotic experience. Matthew says, heck, the past 20 years people still look for vampires. Vic says, "Hey, I'm from there." Cool. Rochelle says, "A very good read." Chris Barber says, "I always wanted to be bitten by a vampire." Vic says the Underworld series loved it. Oh, so did I. I loved the fact that they had werewolves and vampires in one movie. I was like, and it was a badass movie. Elaine says, "Awesome read." Dina says, "Before getting off, Nerd Report was talking about the pregnant vampire in the Philippines. We talked about it on your stream last year or so. Pregnant, unclothed Filipina vampire." There was something I was watching and I want to look more into it, and it was in the Philippines. And it the guy was going, he was walking and he was walking to a falls. I don't know what part of the Philippines he was from, but he said he saw a woman and it was this, and I don't remember what they called it, and I wanted to look into it, but I don't remember what they called it. It was like a folklore. Tim Rock goes, "I love garlic. I think I was an Italian vampire in a previous life. I like garlic too." Chris liked the 3 Underworld movies. I don't think I said it in a video, but I wanted to look into I'm gonna research it. I'm gonna look into Filipino folklore to find that because it was sounding interesting when I heard it, and I wanted to look more into it. A guru, what's up? Welcome. Honey 2800 says there are vampire legends all over the world in some form or another. Australia has the Yaramayahu. I never really watched Buffy to be. Alright, guys, I am going to open it up for questions. You guys have any questions, any criticisms, any complaints? No, just kidding. I just like to say that. Yes, it was. It was Michelle Gellar. She's married to Freddie Prinze Jr. And I think they just celebrated their anniversary. So I think it was 21st anniversary. I was like, whoa. I love Scooby Doo. I used to watch it all the time. I can still watch it. Vic goes, "This is my first stream. Does this channel usually cover paranormal stuff?" Yes, I do. I usually do. I'm mostly paranormal. I do cover some alien stuff, but I am mostly paranormal and the unknown is pretty much what I cover. Spirit of the Trees goes, vampires are a hazard even today, especially emotional vamps. Honey 2800 says it's a giant frog that swallows a person and then throws them up. If you get swallowed too many times, you will turn into one. It was a tale to keep kids from straying from the house. I like stories like like tales like that. Thank you for sharing, Honey 2800. Matthew goes, land of a million drums. I would have gotten away if it weren't for you meddling kids. I love that. Water Dragon says Poppy is a great horror writer. I will have to check that out or do a Google search. Poppy Z Bright. That way I don't lose the name. Poppy. For later, to look up later, so I don't lose the name. Prayer request now going Transylvania. There were people with certain blood types that made them sensitive to light and certain foods. That's where myth comes from and Vlad, who was Dracula. Cool. A guru says, as a kid, if I didn't go to sleep straight away, a skeleton man would come and take us away. Tim Rock says, I think I got rid of an emotional vampire yesterday, hoping the blocking worked. Prayer request now says, my husband is from Transylvania. That is super cool. I still remember whenever anybody says Kevin Bacon, I think of Friday the 13th. And Footloose. So, guys, do you have any questions, criticisms, complaints, concerns? Only because I like saying it, so I'm going to say it. Our guru says mother would tell us, don't forget, he'll come if you don't go straight to sleep. He'll get you. Was terrified. I would be terrified if I was told that as a kid. Rochelle goes, so any of you heard of putting your displayed books backwards, the pages showing instead of the title? No. Rochelle continues, a large book collection can clutter a room, which Wang Shui, I know I'm saying it wrong, always advises against as it acts as an obstruction to the flow of chi, life force energy that needs to be able to circulate. Matthew says Kevin Bacon was one of the choices for John Carpenter's Christine, but he got footloose and became big. I did not know that. D Dice goes, complaint! Your streams are so much fun, they seem too short. Thanks, Ozzy. Have fun. Honey said I had a psychic vampire follow me around Costco. Everywhere I went, there she was, and she would linger way too close to me. I started feeling sick. I found my husband, and as soon as I did, it stopped. Whoa, freaky. I have my dad's book. Well, I have my books, but my books are in my closet. But I have my dad's books in here. That is crazy. Guys, keep the questions going. D Nice goes, question, so the orbs are your grandparents possibly? Well, my grandfather passed away before I was born. He passed away, I think he passed away in 1972. So 6 years before I was born. I just gave away. I shouldn't have said that. But he passed away before I was born, and my grandmother, so he's never been here ever. My grandmother's been to this house, so it's a possibility. Nerd report in the house. Water Dragon goes, Lisa, if you ever up your streaming, you could add an X-File Friday creature feature or something. I could do that. You know who had that too? What? Oh, I can't think of the name. Smallville had a freak of the week. I didn't want to say it that way, but yeah, they had that. Prayer request now said I had a dream that a man was literally sucking the life out of me, and then I had sleep paralysis. I believe it was a demonic attack. Whoa, scary. Chris Barber's asking if I've seen Meg 2 yet. No, I have not seen it. Has anybody in the chat seen Meg 2? And did you guys like it? Spirit of the Tree is the same. What kind of ghost stories give you the most creeps? I like ghost stories, period. I think the ones that give me I'm trying to think. The ones that give me chills, but I'm trying to think of like which one gives me chills. Probably the one where it says like where you like they give like the end game of the story. That's where I like those type of things where they be like where they're haunted by, say, we'll go like with this example, they're haunted by little girl, and then the end game would be like she passed away the week before in that very room or something like that. That doesn't give me the creeps, it gives me the chills. D Dice goes, your secret is safe with the stream. I know, I just told the world. Elaine says, would you ever be considered covering the Beast of Bray Road? Sure. Let me write that down. I'd look into it. Put that on my notes. Vic is asking, has anyone seen black masses on the ceiling before? I have not. I'm not sure if anyone else has. Rochelle says, no black masses, but I constantly ward off evil. Water Dragon Kevin Bacon was in the very first Friday the 13th. Thank you, Tim Rocket. You don't look a day over 30. Thank you. A guru said, lived in a haunted house for 9 years, attacking kids nightly, had house blessed, finally sold up, moved to Spain. People bought house and still having problems there. Wow. That is crazy. Water Dragon goes, I second D-Nice's complaint. Your streams are too short. Love your show. Thank you, Water Dragon. I appreciate that. Rochelle, I still need to watch that. I'm lagging on my Netflix game. Or my watching until I haven't had time to really like get caught up on anything. Rochelle goes, what did y'all think of the newest version of the Pope's Exorcist on Netflix? Rochelle said, I really thought it was great. I know a lot of people say it's good, so I need to watch it. A guru says, my kids and I still have nightmares about the man that killed himself there in 1900s, but we didn't know. Whoa. That is crazy. That is super crazy. Keep the questions coming, guys. Keep the questions coming. Yes, Water Dragon, it's on Netflix. I saw. I've been behind on my Netflix game. And my Witcher game, everything. I'm like so behind. It's not even funny. I just haven't had time to watch anything. D-Nice asks, how many skeletons are in my studio right now? I just have 2. I don't know who else will pop up in the coming weeks. A girl, as I was so glad to move. I could tell you, love The Witcher. Did I get my washer fixed? Be a stone, I had to get it replaced. It was completely rusted through on the bottom and on the side where the water hoses went to. So I ended up getting a new one. Because when I went to move it, the whole bottom was like rusted out and coming apart. Matthew says, get his skeleton and name it Louis Bouis. D Nice is saying, boyfriend and I are watching Rebels right now before Ahsoka. I'm amazed how much better Rebels looked after Disney took over. I liked Rebels. Water Dragon goes, the Japanese ghost stories are always super creepy. Yes, they are. I love Asian folklore, and I love the Asian ghost stories because for some odd reason, I don't know, they just hit right. They are creepy. Diane, thank you for the super chat. Glad to be here every Saturday night. Hearts for Diane, guys. Thank you, Diane. And then my favorite Indiana Jones, because I see Water Dragon say toss up between Raiders and Last Crusade. My favorite Indiana Jones is the Temple of Doom, which I have behind me. You can kind of see it. Spirit of the Trees goes, Asian ghost stories reach new levels. D-Dice goes, Asian ghost stories hit hard because we're Asian. True. Very true. D-Nice, you're right. Chill the monkey brains. Watched that one over and over and over again as a kid, and I could still watch it. Per request now goes, have you looked into NDEs? What is an NDE? Prayer request now. Chris Barber, don't get me wrong, I love Crusades too. Last Crusades. Because of Sean Connery. Near-death experiences. No, I haven't. I should, because those are, I like, I should look into those too. But I haven't. Rochelle says, any of you ever notice that only seems to be in all Korean Japanese films, the bathroom is always out of this world dirty for some reason more than other movies? And then they have the ghost girl in the corner with the hair over the face. I love those. I'm not making fun of those. I really love those. That always gives me the when I see that. Ooh, I'm always big smile on my face when I see that. You have to have the super long hair because it's got to cover the face. And then it ends up like crawling into the rafters too for some odd reason. Tim Rocket says special spiritual connections are made with NDEs and flatliners on the latter. What happened, Tim Rocket, if you don't mind me asking? Rochelle says NDEs are definitely interesting. Chameleon UK saying, what's up? Don't forget double jointed limbs. Oh, yeah, that too. Because they're like. Tim Rocket says, hard to explain. In short, God was there. Cool. Aaron Cooper saying my daughter had a near-death experience. Aaron, what did she say about her experience, if you don't mind me asking? D Nice goes, I love these conversations. Lisa, you and Luce are one of the few who actually talk with their audience. We appreciate you. Thank you, D Nice. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys, so I always want to talk to you guys. And I like talking to you guys too, on top of that. Heather Whatever goes, great channel. Thank you, Marge. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Erin saying she had an infection in her heart, and when she went in for surgery, she said she sat in God's lap and watched the surgery. She said it bounced. Sorry. She said he was super nice and smelled like rain. Wow. Thank you, Urguro, for stopping by. I hope the storms let up. But thank you for stopping by, Urguro. Thank you. I agree with D Nice. That is insane. Kind of gave me chills too. Guys, keep the questions coming. No, I didn't, Bernadette. I didn't get to go out in the blue moon. I'm so mad. Bernadette's asking, did you get to manifest in the blue moon? Spirit of the Trees goes, any plans for Labor Day? Not really. I actually have to work on Labor Day. So I'll be working for part of it. And then streaming for on Monday as well. Yeah, I work in retail. Retail never closes. And I don't get holiday pay either, so yeah. They close 2 times out of the year. That's Thanksgiving and Christmas. It used to be 1 time out of the year. Now it's 2. Vic said I'll be working too. Definitely what D Nice said. Bernadette goes, girl, I remember my retail days. I worked at Kohl's. Hated it. Rochelle goes, them a-holes. Maybe get a new job. You deserve more. I know I do. Actually do. James! Awesome show. I'm hooked. Thank you. First time watching. Thank you. Glad you're enjoying it. Diane, does the full moon interrupt your sleep? It does me. Actually, I haven't been. It might be, Diane, because I haven't been sleeping too well. Like, I don't sleep the entire night, but I think it's because my sleep schedule's like this. If it was the same, if I went to bed and got up at the same time, I think I would sleep better. But I don't. Rochelle, I've actually looked into those, but I could never find one that was reputable. She's saying online jobs remote aren't bad. There's customer service available online. But the problem is there's so many of those that you don't know what is legit and what isn't. Like so many ads for them. Spirit of the Trees, I used to be a floor manager for Rainbow, a cheap retail clothing in the South. Chameleon UK urges to hell keeping you up. It might be. D Nice is learning everyone. Her goal is to have Lisa to do more hikes again. Her job might get in the way. Rochelle is asking, is it rain that smells or is it the earth upon the rain touching it? Rochelle goes, IKEA hires online. Huh. I'll have to check that out. Capital One has it. I'll have to check those out. Matthew goes, a haunted hike. Well, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to do a hike at a haunted. I mean, I did the S Bridge in Colorado, but I want to do more because there's a few here. And I did the old LA Zoo, which is known to be haunted at Griffith Park. Well, I did too. Heather, whatever. Matthew, good idea if Lewis goes. D Nice is Lisa, you're so cool. Thank you, D Nice. Matthew goes, make Lewis go for messing up your shows. He doesn't mess them up. Prayer request now is like, when did you start your channel and how did you come up with the name? When did I start this channel? A year ago in May. And Graysonreport is because my last name is Grayson. Chameleon UK goes, retail sucks, too many shoplifters nowadays. I know what you mean. I call it the Razor Bandit. He comes in, it's a group of people, and they come in and they steal. You know how the razors are hung on like these pegs? They steal the entire peg because we put these little security things on it, on the peg, so you can't take them off. But they steal the entire peg off the hook. So they've stolen like 6 pegs of the replaceable razors that are like $30 a piece or so, or almost. Yeah, and they came in 3 or 4 times. So I know what you mean, Chameleon UK. D Nice goes, I think Grayson has become more popular as a first name the past year. A ton of baby announcements. I know, I see a lot. It's weird when someone goes, my son Grayson. I was like, what? Tim Rocket goes after a flatline. Senses are mixed momentarily, like feel a smell and taste of color. Rochelle goes, my coworkers and I were robbed on the 16th Street Walgreens about 2 a.m. I was shift lead. We got a bunch of people too that just takes the whole carts. Like they go out the door because people aren't paying attention up front. I'm not up front, so luckily. But yeah, there's people they'll just walk out with it. They're that bold. Rochelle says it happened a little over a year ago, no longer work there. If that happened to me, I wouldn't want to work there after that. Elaine's going, we all love Lisa because she's so cool. Thank you. Diane goes, yes, the first streams I saw of yours were hiking. I used to be a backpacking enthusiast where we hiked overnight. That is cool, Diane. I know I started this channel as I would just do hiking videos, and then my lives I became to ghost talk, paranormal. Daniel goes, more bars and more places, more Lisa and more places, get her done. Thank you, Daniel. I love it. Rochelle goes, it was actually Comedy Central. My coworker called me up to the front, and when I got there and I seen this guy standing there with like cigarettes, some Hostess, some pop or juice or something like that. Chameleon goes, I walked into a few public toilets and tasted a smell. Brandon! Thank you for the super chat. Hearts for Brandon, guys. Thank you for the support. It was like he was tripping on D's or something like that. Like, oh well, you can leave now. You got what you came in for, right? He's like, she won't let me leave. He's all jumping up and down. Oh, we had a guy in there that was like his eyes were like pinholes, and I was like, and he was talking gibberish, and I was like, me and the other manager were like, but he ended up leaving. Jen says people try that at Costco all the time. It's weird that but Costco actually like checks your receipts though, right? But I mean, if it gets really busy, somebody can just like streamline. Rochelle. At least it wasn't too. It was that, not something like serious. D Nice is like tent, trailer, or motorhome. What do you prefer for camping? I've done tent camping. I've done a tent trailer camping. I've done motorhome camping. I think I prefer the motorhomes. And that's kind of on my bucket list because now they have a van that's like a motorhome. So that's on my bucket list. I hope to one day. Oh, don't ask me why I want one, because I don't know if I'll probably use it though. But they have like these like van looking things that are now like home on wheels. Like they have like the shower and the toilet and your and sink and all that in it now. So I want one of those for some odd reason. Don't ask me why. Jen goes, yes, but they go out the returns door. Gotcha. Dang! Jen said someone actually drove the electric scooter straight out the door with $600. Actually, I am water dragon. Yeah, that'd be cool. I am very good at typing because people think I type too fast, in fact. Whoa, that is bold, Jin. There, it was a display and someone just walked out the door with it. Whoa, that is crazy. Or what they do, I don't know if this is what they're doing, but I find open packaging, so I'm assuming they open it, stuff it in their purse, and then walk out with it. They do that too. Especially now because everything has gone up in price, so everyone's going crazy. Whoa. That Rochelle right there is crazy, or is scary, but I'm glad it wasn't worse, because it could have been worse for you. Daniel goes, I have a 1999 Ford Explorer van full on with. We had a champagne holder and light galore, and I built a deck on the top like a stage. Oh, that is cool, Daniel. Chris goes, Lisa, I've learned the older I get, the more comfortable I want to be. The van I did is cool. I dig one. I don't know why. I saw one and then I became obsessed with them. Definitely, Jin, they do. Diane goes, I grew up camping in tents, but after some girls were attacked by bears in Glacier, my mom said no more, and my dad bought a trailer before going there. Yeah, in some cases, a trailer is probably better depending on where you're going. I prefer a trailer, to be honest with you. Question: do yours or Lewis's cat snore loud? No, not really. I haven't heard them snore. No, I don't think so. That's even worse for Shell when you're on lunch. Daniel goes, when I did van life, I had two, one for me and one for my girlfriend. Jin, thank you for the super sticker with the fitness pair, celebrating hearts for Jin, guys. Chris was like, I used to love tent camping, but I just need comfort now. Maybe Lewis and I camped at EDC, but that's still kind of glamping in a way because there was an air conditioning in the tent, and then you had showers, but those showers, oh my gosh. That's why I would prefer a trailer. Guys, keep the questions going. Yeah, Aaron, at EDC in Las Vegas, because they actually had those portable air conditionings in the tents. They literally did. And I was impressed by this portable air conditioning. I literally bought the same brand for here. But I'm afraid to use it because it blew my breaker, and I'm afraid it's gonna blow, like permanently blow it out, and I'm not gonna be able to use the outlet anymore because I've had that happen. I have two outlets I can't use because they don't work. So I'm afraid that's gonna happen Question, D Nice. Did the rain wake you up this morning? I was super cranky. No, it didn't. I actually have a sound machine that does white noise, so I can't hear anything. And with my fans going, golden. Water Dragon goes, fun fact, I heard the other day that there's no mosquitoes in Iceland. I need to go there. I was a mosquitoes on Wednesday. Wednesday, I was moving out the old washer, bringing in the new one in. I had to move my dryer out of the way to bring it. And then I was finally testing out the new washer, and then all of a sudden my legs started itching. Come to find out, I had like over 10 bites on each leg, and I still have all the red dots, and they still itch. So I wish we didn't have mosquitoes. They ate me. They had a beautiful lunch or dinner. That Rochelle, that's what happens to me. If I get a mosquito bite, it swells up the entire area. Literally, like the top, I can finally see the top of, I could see the actual bites on the leg, but it was like big welts, like this big. And then I was dying. I'm like, my legs are on fire. Elaine, I think I've seen that. That looks cool. Have you seen the inflatable bed that is mounted on a cot with a tent to cover it? Looks cool. Spirit of the Trees is saying, is Lisa a mosquito magnet? I am, and then I was at work. I was going to my car to leave, and I got one on my arm. I'm like, what the heck? And I think I got 2 new ones today. They're eating me alive. Vic goes, I can't sleep in silence anymore. Any little noise that just raises paranormal. I love my fans. Vic, I'm the same way. When as soon as the power goes off, I wake up. I have to have my sound. Cannot sleep without it. You're lucky, Chris, that the mosquitoes don't bother you. Water dragon, crazy story. Diane goes, yikes, mosquitoes don't like me. Everyone that comes to my place mentions how bad they are. It has to do with your blood. I know, they like my blood, and I'm like, get away! Like, leave me alone! Like, it's still like, I'm dying. Like, every once in a while it starts to flare up still. It's finally starting to the point where I can actually see the bites instead of big, huge, like, red welts. Wow, that is bad. Water dragon. If you guys haven't been looking at the chat, at the story. Rochelle goes apple cider vinegar. I take apple cider vinegar, Rochelle, and they still bite me. Oh, blot it with apple cider. Okay, I'll try that. Cause if I put like those itch creams on it, it doesn't do anything for me. I still scratch. It helps take out the bad and heal it quicker and relieve the itch. I will try that for next time. I'll get some to try that because I've tried itch creams and they just, like I said, they don't do anything for me at all. Diane goes, mosquito eggs can live on a dry area for months, and the first rain they all hatch. No, whenever I get bit by anything, by mosquito, big red welts. Super annoying. I got 2 more today. I was like, oh, leave me alone. I have enough on my legs. I was eaten alive the other day. Guys, keep the questions going. Jin with the that's so cool. D nice with the that's so cool. Rochelle says get the Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I will definitely try that because I am definitely getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. D Nice is asking, did you ever think you could reach this far with your channel? We all believe in you. No, I did not think so. I didn't think anything of it. I just went into it basically, and then I was like, whoa. Thank you, Water Dragon. Dan goes, glad you got a new washer. Missed the end of that story. Have you tried it out? What did you get? I got an LG and I did try it out and it works great. So far. And I measured it before I bought it to make sure it fit. Rochelle, thank you. I totally appreciate it because I always get bit and I never bites and I don't ever know what to try. So I'm definitely gonna try that for sure. It's going on my shopping list. Question. D Nice is asking if I ever move, do I want a single floor or 2-story place? I don't care. I'm fine with a single story. I'm fine. I've always had a single story, so I'm cool with a single story. I mean, I guess if I got a 2-story, I would have I wouldn't have to go out to do stairs. I could stay home and go up and down the stairs. D Nice goes, do I like basements or attics or both? I've never had a basement. I think I would like basements better than attics because at least a basement you can kind of make it like a cool space. It could be a bedroom, it could be a rec room, it could be an office. So I think I would like a basement better. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Julissa is in the house. She made it. Nerd report. Why are you saying paka paka? Daniel Miles said my basement was a music studio in Colorado. I think I would enjoy basements better because they're both creepy, but I think I would enjoy a basement better. Chameleon UK going basements are like survival shelters. Yes, in the way they are. Water Dragon goes, it's an allergic reaction to their anticoagulant saliva they inject before drinking, keeps you from clotting. Ugh. And I'm one of them that has that reaction. D-Nice is going, in your opinion, what's the most haunted place in a house? Basement or attics? We can put closets in the mix, too. I want to say attics. Don't ask me why, I just want to say attics. It could be both, actually. Basements and attics. But I would think attics more because attics are usually untouched. So you don't know what's hiding in your attic. And I always close... Pablo, what's up? I always close my closet door because, believe it or not, it has access to the attic. So I always close my door. I don't know why. I can't go to sleep with an open closet door. Rochelle says, in my perspective, definitely the basement because you are more towards, they say, to ground yourself, energy level rises to be closer to the ground. In the 40, I think the same goes with the spirit. Julissa goes, my husband says basement. Jen saying closets are creepy for sure. Chris Burr saying, yeah, but basements are where people live, but you could put a haunted object in an attic because the only reason why I say attic because a lot of people you store, I don't store anything in mine, but some people store creepy things in their attic. So Pablo goes, which is more haunted, an oven or a toilet? Daniel goes, lofts and attics were fun to skateboard in. Where did you find a cool attic? I've never found a place that had a cool attic. I mean, I guess I see it in the movies, but I've never actually seen one or know someone that had a cool attic. D-Nice goes, I went into my attic once and saw a big spider and never opened it again. I don't think I've ever been in mine, and I don't plan to because I don't want to know what's up there. Vic says, definitely the basement. It's closer to hell. Diane goes, attics get hot. Basements can be a cool relief. Yeah, if I chose basement because I feel like basements are cooler than attics. Julissa Gozi says murdered people are buried in basements. That I'm gonna answer that one. Water Dragon goes, definitely toilet. I've never seen anything weird come out of an oven, but especially in Florida, I guess weird things come out of a toilet. And the Fluke Man on X-Files, nuff said. Definitely the fluke man. Chameleon UK, more people get murdered in basements than attics. True, because basements are larger than attics. And a lot of people don't go into the basement. Alright, guys, I'm gonna stay on for a few more minutes. Any last minute questions, guys? Any last minute questions? D Nice goes, my basement in historic Filipino town in LA is so cool. We are letting people rent the house. Oh, that's cool. That's okay, Julius. I'm glad you were able to catch the end. Spirit of the Trees goes, being in the basement, one has access to Earth's energy. The attic has area and away from said people. True. Chris Barber goes, I was just watching the X-Files last night. It was the one when Mulder and Scully played a couple in a planned community with the trash monster. I remember that episode. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember that episode. Diane goes, do you think old roller coasters are haunted? They could be. They could be. I think they could be. Tim Ruckett goes, I'm researching tent AC for some reason and don't know why. Gargoyles, for sure, D-Nice, over trolls. Gargoyles, for sure. I have one, a statue one, in my room. Pablo goes, was it the trash monster on Sesame Street too? Yes. Rochelle goes, if you feel scared tonight, everyone watch one episode of Hoarders and you will suddenly feel much better. I used to watch that show, Rochelle. It's crazy to watch them see it and then watch them clean it up and see the aftermath. Oscar the Grouch. Julissa goes, gargoyles are cool. They scare off evil spirits. Exactly. That's why I have one in my room. And they put them on castles as well. Vic is asking, how often do you stream? This was cool to hang out tonight. I stream every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right now, it's only 2 days. I'm hoping to do more in the future. It's just I got the 9 to 5 and they have me working crazy hours right now, so I can only squeeze in the 2 days, but I'm hoping to add an extra day. Hoping to stream more. Elaine's asking favorite scary movie all time. I have too many. I cannot pick one. That is like that. I have too many favorite ones. I like them all. But favorite slasher has to be I like Jason, so I'm a Friday the 13th fangirl. Love Hellraiser. Um those are probably like my two like favorite ones. Loved Candyman as a kid. Um but love Ghostface. I love Scream now. Like Scream is a new one that I like. I like Terrifier now. I think I like slashers. You can put it that way. Thank you, Heather. Whatever. I do like Halloween too. D Nice asking if I like to take photos and if so of what. I like taking photos of views. So if I see snow-topped mountains, I'll take picture of. If I beautiful flower, I like taking, or if I see a squirrel, I like taking pictures of that type of stuff or something interesting. Chameleon UK says Nightmare on Elm Street. Jalissa goes Scream movies are fun. Chris Barber said I saw a good Bigfoot movie called American Bigfoot. That's how I may have to check that one out when I get a chance. Heather whatever goes, my garage is looking pretty hoardy. My youngest tossed heavy things in there and needs a monster to eat it all. I know what you mean, Heather whatever. My garage, I don't want to venture in there because I don't know what critters might be in there. Or long lost. I might have a new life form in there. Matthew, I used to watch that Friday the 13th series. What D Nice goes DSLR or camera phone? I have never used a DSLR, but I've always wanted one. I just never used one. So right now it's the camera phone or my GoPro. Polaroids are cool too. Vic is saying it's crazy we have not seen more on Bigfoot in 2023, but I know they are elusive. I want to know more about them. There's not much about Bigfoot. Even when I Google Bigfoot, there's not much about him. Any last minute questions? Get them in now. Daniel Miles says Trinity County, California. You might find something on Bigfoot. I will have to look because I did Google Bigfoot because I was going to talk a little bit about Bigfoot, but I haven't found anything. I'll still do some research though. Prayer request now is asking, have I seen Vatican Girl? No, I haven't. I have not. I am so behind on my shows, it's not even funny. Prayer request now says Miss Netflix. Oh! I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I think I started watching some of it, but I never finished it. Now prayer request. Now I know what you're talking about. Netflix Mystery Unsolved docuseries. Diane goes, I don't have clutter because centipedes like to hang out in there. Or black widows like to be in dark places, so I try to stay away from that. Jen Decker goes, if you could visit anywhere, where would you go? I'd probably go to, you know where I really want to go to? Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to go to Japan. Because reading those haunted places in Japan, oh my gosh. I would love to go to Japan if I could dare the plane ride. D Nice, I would always have stairs if I had a multi-story house. I would still have stairs. Facebook is lagging on the notifications, Daniel. It definitely would like to go back to Korea because that's where my mom was from.